told you that space smells like burnt meat. It's strange, but astronauts who have returned from space report that the space environment has a distinct smell resembling burnt meat or metal after welding. This is due to complex chemical reactions occurring at the molecular level in the vacuum. While space itself doesn't carry smells, the scent becomes noticeable when astronauts return to their spacecraft. It's interesting that messages in bottles can travel for years across the sea. Sometimes, bottles with messages thrown into the sea can float for years before reaching a shore. The longest recorded journey of such a message lasted about 133 years. During that time, the bottle traveled thousands of kilometers. These random journeys have inspired countless stories. And even in our digital age, people continue to throw bottles into the ocean, hoping to connect with future generations. Why do fawns have no scent? When fawns are born, they have no scent. This adaptation helps them remain unnoticed by nearby predators like wolves and bears. This allows young deer to lie hidden in the grass, undetected due to their invisible presence. The mother deer returns only to feed them and then leaves again, avoiding drawing attention to her offspring. This survival strategy makes fawns true masters of camouflage in the wild. Could it be possible? The pyramids of Giza were once colorful. When the pyramids of Giza were first built, their surfaces were covered with smooth white limestone slabs, which reflected sunlight and made them appear bright and sparkling. At the top, there was likely a golden pyramidion, giving the pyramid a dazzling look. Over time, the white stone eroded, and the pyramids became what we see today, stark but still majestic. Greenland shark, the longest living creature of the ocean, 500 years of life. Believe it or not, Greenland sharks can live up to 500 years. These ancient inhabitants of the cold waters of the North Atlantic are among the longest living vertebrates on Earth. Scientists have determined the age of sharks by studying the lenses of their eyes, which accumulate layers over time, much like the rings on a tree. Some of these sharks were born before the Renaissance. This incredible fact highlights how fascinating and underexplored the underwater world is. Imagine, the oldest sharks may have been swimming in the ocean when the first pyramids were being built. Believe it or not, the world's smallest island is only a few square meters. Bishop Rock, located in the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of England, holds the title of the world's smallest island. Its area is only 8/1000ths of a square kilometer, just 3/1000ths of a square mile. Despite its tiny size, the island boasts a lighthouse and is the most westerly point of England. It's officially recognized in the Guinness World Records as the smallest inhabited island, proving that even the smallest piece of land can be home to something remarkable. Why is kissing camels banned in Egypt? And what could happen if you disobey? In Egypt, you can find signs warning no camel kissing. And it's not as strange as it sounds. These animals can be unpredictable, and they also carry infections that can be transmitted to humans. Despite their friendly appearance, camels can show aggression, especially when they feel threatened. It's better to keep a safe distance and settle for a photo to avoid any unpleasant surprises. How about the longest word with just one vowel? Did you know that the word strengths is the longest word in the English language with only one vowel? It's fascinating, as this word is not only powerful in meaning, but also unique in its structure. It proves that even the simplest words can be incredibly complex when looked at from a different perspective. Next time you use this word, pay attention to its uniqueness. It's a small linguistic puzzle. Did you know that the world's longest hair measures over 18 feet? A Chinese woman named Si Cuping holds the Guinness World Record for the longest hair, which measures a staggering 5.62 meters. That's about 18 feet and 5 inches. She began growing her hair at the age of 13 in 1973 and hasn't cut it since. Taking care of such long hair is no easy task. She spends hours every week washing it, and at least 2 hours just combing it. Sometimes she braids her hair or wraps it around herself to make moving easier. This record has remained unbeatable for decades. Can you imagine that it rains diamonds on Neptune? It sounds like science fiction, but scientists are convinced that Neptune experiences diamond rain. Due to the immense pressure and extreme temperatures, methane in Neptune's atmosphere transforms into diamonds that literally fall from the sky. Imagine a world where precious jewels are as common as raindrops. A luxurious storm that any jeweler would dream of witnessing. is the 10,000 steps a day. Just a myth? We often hear that walking 10,000 steps a day is essential for good health. But did you know that this number isn't scientifically backed? The figure originated in the 1960s as part of a marketing campaign for a Japanese pedometer whose name translates as 10,000 steps. It was simply a catchy slogan that stuck in the culture. But in reality, there is no specific scientific data that confirms that exactly 10,000 steps is the magic number. The number of steps needed to stay healthy can vary from person to person. Have you ever thought about how bats are the only flying mammals? Their wings are unlike birds' wings. They are special membranes stretched between elongated fingers. This unique construction allows bats to perform complex aerial maneuvers while hunting insects. They also use echolocation to navigate in the dark, making them incredibly precise hunters. Bats play a vital role in ecosystems, eating vast numbers of insects and pollinating plants. Did you know that squirrels can cause power outages? It turns out that cute, fluffy squirrels can cause significant damage to the power grid. In the United States, about 10 to 20% of all power outages happen because squirrels accidentally come into contact with wires and electrical equipment. These little mischief makers love climbing power lines, sometimes touching dangerous parts of the equipment. This leads to short circuits and outages that can affect entire cities. Who would have thought that such innocent-looking creatures could cause serious energy problems? Next time you see a squirrel on a tree, think about its potential as a saboteur. Did you know that the name John is over 4,000 years old? The name John is one of the oldest in human history, documented more than 4,000 years ago. This name has endured through countless ages and cultures, remaining relevant even today. Just imagine, millions of people throughout history have carried this simple yet powerful name, which continues to symbolize tradition and endurance. The elephant trunk trick: 40,000 muscles in one nose. Yes, you read that right. An elephant's trunk contains about 40,000 muscles. That's more than the entire human body, and this is why an elephant's trunk is so incredibly versatile. With it, elephants can lift heavy branches, gently pick berries, drink water, make sounds, and even caress their young. But did you know that young elephants often suck on their trunks, just like children suck their thumbs? It helps them feel calm and secure. A true wonder of nature, such a complex and multifunctional organ like the elephant's trunk. Your chances of winning the lottery? Dangerously low. How likely do you think it is to win the lottery? Believe it or not, the chances of dying on your way to buy a lottery ticket are higher than hitting the jackpot. Statistically, your odds of winning the lottery are so low that you're more likely to suffer from an unfortunate accident. This doesn't mean you shouldn't play, but perhaps it's worth remembering that true luck is just getting home safe and sound. So if you decide to try your luck, be cautious. Sometimes the road to your dream can be more dangerous than you think. Fold a piece of paper 42 times, and you'll reach the moon. Imagine this. If you could fold a piece of paper 42 times, it would become so thick that it could reach the moon. This incredible concept is tied to the exponential increase in the paper's thickness with each fold. Of course, in reality, it's almost impossible to fold a piece of paper more than 7 or 8 times due to its physical structure, but theoretically, it would work. This fun fact shows just how fascinating mathematics can be and how difficult it is for physical objects to adhere to such theoretical rules. Try it yourself and see how many times you can fold a piece of paper. How would you like to visit the world's most isolated island? Tristan da Cunha is the world's most remote inhabited island, located in the southern Atlantic Ocean. It lies about 2,400 kilometers from the nearest mainland. Around 260 people live on the island, most of whom are descendants of British settlers and shipwreck survivors. Tristan da Cunha has no airports, hotels, or restaurants, and the only way to reach it is by boat, on a 6-day journey from South Africa. The story of ink saving: how a period saved a newspaper. Thousands of dollars. How important do you think a tiny change in logo design could be? In 1967, the New York Times decided to remove the period at the end of its name. This decision wasn't driven by aesthetics, but by savings. The newspaper calculated that dropping the period could save them a significant amount of ink, around $600 a year, which today equals approximately $6,000. While such an amount may seem insignificant at first, for publishers, it became an example of how even the smallest changes can lead to substantial resource savings. Imagine how one small decision could impact the budget of an entire company. How about this? There are roadmaps for astronauts on the moon. During the Apollo missions, special markings were made on the moon's surface to help astronauts navigate. These markers included lines and even arrows pointing in specific directions. In an environment where horizontal landmarks are not obvious and visibility is limited, these markers were crucial. Although the moon seems empty, these hidden details help future missions avoid getting lost and allow better exploration of Earth's satellite. Ancient Roman firefighters and their unusual tactics. In ancient Rome, firefighting wasn't just about saving lives. It was a business. When a fire broke out, firefighters would rush to the scene, but they would only put out the flames if the property owner agreed on a price. This strange combination of urgency and negotiation shows just how different firefighting was back then compared to today. Back in those days, saving a building from flames required both money and quick decisions. Did you know your keyboard is dirtier than a toilet seat? It sounds awful, but your keyboard can be a real breeding ground for germs. Studies have shown that keyboards often contain more bacteria than toilet seats. Dust, food crumbs, and microbes accumulate on the keys over time. That's why regularly cleaning your keyboard isn't just a good habit. It's an important hygiene measure. A keyboard cleaner and wet wipes are your best friends in the battle against germs. Believe it or not, the world's deepest lake holds 20% of all the fresh water on Earth. Lake Baikal, located in Siberia, is not only the deepest lake in the world, but also contains 20% of the world's fresh water reserves. Its depth reaches over 1.5 kilometers, and its volume of water is so vast that it could supply fresh water to the entire planet for several years. This incredible lake is also home to unique species of animals and plants that can't be found anywhere else in the world. Lake Baikal is truly a natural treasure. Why is there a village in China where nearly everyone lives past 100 years? In the Chinese village of Bama, nearly every other resident lives to be 100 years old or more. Scientists believe it's due to the clean air, mineral-rich water, and a diet rich in local herbs and vegetables. The locals also lead active lives, working physically well into old age. Tourists come here hoping to learn the secrets of longevity, but the villagers say the key is harmony with nature and a positive outlook. It turns out that Spain has a ghost city built for thousands of people, but no one lives there. In the Spanish province of Galicia, there is a place called Ciudad de la Cultura, City of Culture, which was built with grand ambitions. It was meant to be a major cultural hub for scholars, artists, and creative individuals. However, the project ran into financial difficulties, and now this city stands mostly abandoned. Its modern buildings, inspired by ancient designs, stand as a colossal monument to unfulfilled dreams. This place attracts both tourists and architecture enthusiasts, even though most of the structures remain closed and unused. Can you imagine that bananas are actually berries? Despite their shape and size, bananas are, botanically speaking, berries. It all comes down to how they develop from a flower. But here's the twist. Strawberries, which we often think of as berries, technically aren't. Although bananas look more like a fruit, their internal structure and growth process mark them as true berries. So, next time you enjoy a banana, remember you're eating a bona fide berry. How about this? In Turkey, there is an ancient underground city that could hold over 20,000 people. Derinkuyu is one of the largest and most mysterious underground cities in the world. It was built thousands of years ago in Cappadocia and consists of several levels deep underground. For centuries, the city was used as a refuge during wars and raids. It included everything needed for life: living quarters, wineries, churches, ventilation shafts, and even schools. The city was discovered accidentally in 1963, and to this day, archaeologists have not fully explored all of its secrets. Is it possible, in Tokyo, there is an inverted tower that goes more than 60 floors underground? The Japanese are known for their engineering ingenuity, and the inverted tower project is one of the most ambitious. This tower, unlike traditional skyscrapers, goes deep underground instead of soaring into the sky. built in the dense urban landscape, it is an innovative solution for creating new office and living spaces in a land-scarce environment. Imagine walking down the street and below you there's a whole underground city. Did you know that the Tower of London was once bright white? In the Middle Ages, the Tower of London wasn't gray as it is today, but instead, it was covered with a white plaster, earning it the nickname White Tower. At that time, white plaster symbolized strength and purity. Every few years, the tower was repainted to maintain its bright appearance. Over time, the coating wore away, and the tower became gray due to dirt and pollution. But once, it really was a gleaming white pearl on the London skyline. There's a white giraffe in the world, and it's not a fairy tale. In Africa, a unique white giraffe was discovered, suffering from a rare genetic condition known as leucism. Unlike albinism, leucism allows the giraffe to retain pigment in its eyes, but its skin lacks color. This rare giraffe has become a subject of intense focus and was even equipped with a special tracker to protect it from poachers. Its snow-white color makes it vulnerable, but also a unique creature in the wild. Did you know that platypuses are venomous? This cute and mysterious animal from Australia has a real weapon hidden in its legs. Male platypuses have venomous spurs on their hind legs, which they use to inject toxins into their enemies or competitors during mating battles. While the venom is not deadly to humans, it can cause excruciating pain that lasts for months. Who would have thought that these seemingly harmless animals could be so dangerous? El Popo, Mexico's fiery mountain. Popocatépetl, known as El Popo, is one of the most active and dangerous volcanoes in the world, located just 50 kilometers from Mexico City. It regularly spews thousands of tons of gas and ash into the air, keeping geologists and locals on their toes. Its unpredictable nature makes it a constant threat, but also serves as a reminder of nature's power and destructive force. Each eruption of El Popo is a reminder that our planet is alive and capable of awe-inspiring phenomena. Did you know Mandarin is the most spoken language in the world? Mandarin Chinese is not only one of the oldest languages on the planet, but also the most spoken, with over 918 million speakers. That's about 12% of the global population. Mandarin is the official language of China, Taiwan, and one of the official languages of Singapore. Interestingly, Mandarin is a tonal language, which means that the same word can have different meanings depending on the tone used. Imagine this. The word ma can mean mother, horse, scold, or hemp, depending on how you say it. This makes Mandarin one of the most challenging yet fascinating languages to learn. Did you know the first alarm clock could only ring at one time? Imagine an alarm clock that only rings at 4 in the morning. That's exactly what the first alarm clock was like, invented by Levi Hutchins in 1787. This primitive, but at the time innovative device was designed solely for Hutchins' personal use. It didn't allow the user to choose a time, but it guaranteed an early rise. After all, 4 a.m. leaves no room for just 5 more minutes. Nonetheless, this invention was the forerunner of the modern alarm clocks we now wrestle with every morning. Did you know that artificial intelligence has been around since the 1950s? Artificial intelligence, or AI, began its development in the mid-20th century and has since revolutionized various industries. From virtual assistants to autonomous vehicles, AI has become an integral part of our daily lives. Today, AI is used in healthcare, finance, transportation, and entertainment, transforming how we live and work. The growth of AI is an incredible journey of technological evolution, showcasing how far we've come in understanding and creating intelligent machines. How would you react if you knew that in Japan, buildings are made of paper? In Japan, they are developing innovative buildings made from recycled paper. This material is used for temporary structures such as pavilions or exhibition centers. The paper walls are treated with special substances that make them resistant to rain and fire. This is an example of how modern technologies allow for the construction of eco-friendly buildings that are easy to dismantle and recycle, leaving no harm to the environment. Earth's gravity. Why isn't it the same everywhere? Have you ever wondered why gravity varies slightly in different places on Earth? It turns out this is due to many factors, such as altitude, the density of Earth's crust, and the distance from the equator. Gravity is stronger at the poles and in places with denser crust, like mountain ranges, because these areas are closer to the Earth's center. Conversely, gravity is weaker at high altitudes, such as on top of Mount Everest and near the equator. These variations are caused by the distribution of mass on the planet and the fact that Earth is slightly flattened at the poles. This highlights the complexity and uniqueness of our gravitational field. Now you know, in some places on Earth, you weigh a little more or less than in others. Being born on February 29th is a 1 in 1,461 chance. People born on February 29th belong to a very rare club, as this date appears on the calendar only once every 4 years during a leap year. The odds of being born on this day are about 1 in 1,461. That means only about 0.068% of the population celebrates their birthday on February 29th. They often joke that they age only once every 4 years. Some throw grand parties to mark this special day, making it an even more memorable celebration. Who would have thought that jellyfish are 95% water? Jellyfish are almost ethereal in appearance. And no wonder, 95% of their bodies are made of water. This high water content allows them to float gracefully through the ocean, moving with the currents as if weightless. Despite their simple structure, jellyfish have existed for hundreds of millions of years, perfectly adapted to life in the ocean. Their delicate, watery forms remind us of the fragility and beauty of marine ecosystems. Did you know that the King of Sweden has almost no power? Contrary to popular belief, the King of Sweden is not an active political leader. His role is purely symbolic, performing mainly ceremonial duties. Sweden is a constitutional monarchy, where political power lies with the parliament and the prime minister. Nevertheless, the king continues to play an important role in the cultural and social life of the country, representing Sweden on the international stage and attending state events. Interestingly, the Swedish royal family is considered one of the most popular and respected in the world, despite having minimal political influence. Why can dung beetles navigate by the stars? These tiny creatures have a unique ability to use the stars as a compass. At night, they look at the Milky Way to always move in the right direction and stay on course. This is especially important when they transport their precious dung balls over long distances, as these provide them with both food and protection. Surprisingly, scientists have found that their eyes, while not highly developed, are sensitive to starlight. This celestial navigation helps them stay oriented even in the complete darkness of deserts and savannas. Every cat has a unique nose print. Just like humans have unique fingerprints, cats have their own special patterns on their noses. Each cat's nose has a distinct print that can be used to identify them, much like how fingerprints work for people. This trait makes every cat's nose completely unique and adds a bit of personality to their charm. So, if you have a furry purring friend at home, know that their nose is as unique as their character. This amazing fact highlights how diverse and mysterious the feline world is, where even the smallest details matter. Goosebumps, an evolutionary artifact from our ancestors. Have you ever wondered why we get goosebumps? This phenomenon is linked to our ancient ancestors. Long ago, when humans and animals had more body hair, this reaction helped them appear larger and more intimidating to predators, while also retaining heat in cold weather. When tiny muscles at the base of hair follicles contract, the hair stands up, creating a fluffy effect. Today, goosebumps are a leftover from our evolutionary past, but they no longer serve the important function they once did. Nowadays, goosebumps are more often triggered by cold or strong emotions. So, next time you feel goosebumps, remember that they are a part of your ancient defense system. Being born at midnight on January 1st. A rare chance. The odds of a baby being born precisely at 12:01 a.m. on January 1st are about 1 in 26,600. That's roughly the same as the chance of being struck by lightning. Imagine how incredible it would be to ring in the new year with the birth of a new person in the very first minute of the year. This rare and surprising event becomes a special moment for the family and can even attract media attention. It's one of those unique times when life and timing align in an unforgettable way. Have you ever thought about how whales sing underwater? Whales produce sounds that can be heard hundreds of kilometers away underwater. These sounds help them communicate and find mates, even across vast distances. Whale songs can last for hours, and each one is unique, like a fingerprint. These songs change over the years, making them not just a means of communication, but also a form of cultural heritage passed down through generations. The first computer bug was a real bug. In 1947, a real moth flew into one of the first computers, causing it to malfunction. This unexpected visitor became the first documented computer bug. Since then, the term bug has been used to describe any glitch in a computer system. Who would have thought that a tiny moth could play such a big role in technological history? This little incident also gave rise to the term debugging, and the story remains a quirky part of tech lore. How about this? In Italy, there is a museum filled with objects found at the bottom of canals. In Venice, there is a museum where exhibits are collected from the bottom of the famous canals. Among the items on display, you can find ancient coins, musical instruments, luxury goods, and even cars. This museum tells the city's history through lost and forgotten objects, many of which lay underwater for centuries. Venice, with its labyrinth of canals, has always been a mysterious city, and these underwater discoveries reveal even more secrets of this ancient place. Did you know that there's a stone forest on Earth? In China's Yunnan province, you'll find one of the most unique natural phenomena, the Shailan, or stone forest. This astonishing forest isn't made of trees, but of towering limestone pillars that rise towards the sky like jagged spikes of rock. The age of this extraordinary forest is over 270 million years. Erosion from rain and wind has sculpted the rocks into such bizarre shapes. For centuries, people have attributed mystical powers to this place, and local legends claim that spirits of nature inhabit Shailan. It's so majestic and mysterious, it almost looks like a set from a fantasy movie. Did you know that the colored squares on toothpaste tubes aren't magic? You've probably noticed the small colored squares at the end of toothpaste tubes. Some people believe that these colored markings indicate the product's composition, whether it's natural or chemical. But the truth is, that's just a myth. These marks, which can be black, blue, red, or green, are known as eye marks and serve purely technical purposes. They help machines on the production line correctly orient the tube for packaging and labeling. These marks contain no information about the toothpaste's ingredients or quality. So next time you see such a mark, you'll know it's just a technical detail, not a sign of some mysterious chemical composition. Did you know car aromas can reduce accidents? It's surprising but true. The right scent inside a car can make driving safer. Studies show that aromas such as lavender or vanilla can calm drivers, reduce stress, and help maintain focus. A relaxed driver is less likely to be involved in an accident, making the choice of car scent not just a pleasant detail, but also an important safety factor. How about this? Dubai is building skyscrapers that rotate. In Dubai, they are designing skyscrapers that will slowly rotate around their own axis, changing the view from the windows. The idea is that residents can enjoy a new view every day, with sunlight evenly illuminating the building. With such innovations, Dubai remains at the forefront of architectural thinking, creating structures that are not only beautiful, but practical for use in hot climates. Did you know that secret staircases were built into Italian houses? In Italian cities like Venice and Florence, aristocrats often built houses with secret staircases that allowed them to hide in case of danger. These staircases were hidden within the walls and led to secret rooms or exits. Some of them still exist today and are true architectural treasures. Even now, these hidden passages continue to fascinate explorers and tourists, intrigued by the mysteries of the past. You probably didn't know that the International Space Station is the most expensive object ever built. The cost of building and operating the ISS is approximately $150 billion. For comparison, that's almost 50 times the cost of the Eiffel Tower. All this money was spent to create a one-of-a-kind scientific laboratory complex orbiting the Earth. Did you know that a dollar can be changed in 293 ways? When it comes to breaking a dollar, the combinations can be quite diverse. By using various coins like pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, half dollars, and dollar coins, you can make a dollar in 293 different ways. This fact showcases just how intricate and varied the coin system can be and gives a whole new perspective on the humble dollar. Have you ever thought about the fact that you can see a double rainbow on Mars? Surprisingly, it's true. On Mars, you can sometimes witness not just one, but a double rainbow. However, these aren't the rainbows we're used to seeing on Earth. The Martian atmosphere is so thin that ordinary raindrops don't form, but rainbows can appear due to fine dust and ice crystals floating in the air. Even though there's no rain on Mars, these dusty rainbows look particularly mesmerizing. But if you want to see one, you'll have to wait. Martian weather phenomena happen very rarely. Coca-Cola and its secret ingredients. The name Coca-Cola comes from two of its original ingredients, coca leaves and cola nuts, which were used to give the drink its distinctive taste and effects. The coca leaves provided a mild stimulant, while the cola nuts added caffeine. Today, the exact formula of Coca-Cola remains a closely guarded secret. Despite changes to the recipe, the story behind its creation and the brand's mystique continue to fascinate people around the world. Is it true that in Argentina there is a river that burns? The Quiricura River in Argentina is famous for its unusual fiery phenomena. Periodically, fiery geysers erupt from its depths. This happens due to underground methane deposits, which ignite when they come into contact with air. Amazingly, this river is not only a beautiful natural phenomenon, but also raises concerns among scientists, as constant gas emissions could signal larger natural disasters. Locals call it the River of Spirits, linking it to ancient legends. Did you know that penguins swallow stones? These tuxedo-wearing wonders not only excel at swimming, but also have an unusual habit of swallowing small stones. Penguins ingest pebbles to help them digest food more efficiently, using the stones to grind up food in their stomachs, much like birds use gravel. In addition, these stones provide extra weight, allowing penguins to dive deeper in search of fish. This clever adaptation turns penguins into expert divers and makes them even more fascinating. Hard to believe, but there's an underwater waterfall in the world. On the island of Mauritius in the Indian Ocean, there is a phenomenon that baffles even experienced travelers and scientists. Off the island's southwestern coast, you can witness an optical illusion of an underwater waterfall. It's not a real waterfall, but a natural phenomenon where sand and sediment, moved by currents, create the illusion of a waterfall plunging into the ocean depths. Due to the ocean floor's contours, it looks like water is cascading down into a giant abyss, though in reality, it's just an illusion. Yet this view is so mesmerizing that many tourists come to Mauritius just to see this extraordinary sight. Did you know that a duck's quack actually has an echo? Despite the popular myth that a duck's quack doesn't echo, that's not true. It's not that ducks lack an echo, it's that our ears sometimes fail to catch it. The physics of sound works the same as for other sounds, but due to the frequency of the quack and how it spreads, it may seem quieter or barely noticeable. Next time you're near a duck, listen closely. You might catch its quack echo sounding like it's in stereo. It's nature's version of a whispering gallery, but with ducks. Did you know there are 1,500 types of tea? The world of tea is a universe of flavors and aromas. There are about 1,500 types of tea, ranging from familiar black and green teas to exotic blends with fruits and herbs. Millions of people around the world drink tea, and each type offers a unique experience and its own health benefits. Drinking tea is a whole ritual in which you can explore different cultures and traditions, discovering new flavors with every sip. Incredible but true, the Arctic tern takes the longest journey on Earth. Every year, the Arctic tern embarks on an extraordinary migration from the Arctic to Antarctica and back, covering up to 70,000 kilometers. This incredible bird follows the sun, living in perpetual summer as it flies from one pole to the other. The Arctic tern's migration is the longest of any animal, showcasing not only its endurance, but also its remarkable navigational skills. It's a testament to nature's astonishing adaptability and the lengths some creatures will go to survive. Who would have thought the world's smallest fish is less than 1 centimeter long? The world's smallest fish, Platypuses progenetica, found in the waters of Indonesia, measures only 7.9 millimeters in length, less than 1/3 of an inch. Weighing just 0.004 of a gram, this transparent fish has no scales or teeth. It lives in peat swamps and feeds on plankton. Despite its tiny size, this fish faces significant threats from habitat loss and pollution, proving that even the smallest creatures play a vital role in the ecosystem. Is it true that blood type O is the most common in the world? Yes, blood type O is indeed the most common on the planet. Approximately 38% of the world's population has this blood type, making it not only the most frequent, but also highly valuable for transfusions. Because of its universal compatibility, type O blood can be given to anyone with a positive blood type, which makes it critical in medical emergencies. If you have blood type O, know that you possess a valuable resource that could save countless lives. Surprisingly, there's a town in Norway where every house stands on stilts. In Røros, Norway, almost all houses are built on wooden stilts. This ancient technique helps protect the buildings from moisture and snow. The historical center of the town is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and today, tourists come to see how ancient construction methods have remained relevant for centuries. This town stands as a living monument to how people adapted to the harsh conditions of the north. Did you know that lightning is hotter than the sun? The temperature of lightning can reach up to 30,000 degrees Celsius, which is 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. This incredible natural phenomenon is one of the most powerful forces on Earth. When lightning strikes, it releases an enormous amount of energy in just a few milliseconds, heating the air around it to extreme temperatures. Lightning is truly nature's own flamethrower, bringing intense heat with every flash. The first computer mouse was made of wood. In 1964, Douglas Engelbart invented the first computer mouse, and it was made of wood. This device with 2 metal wheels revolutionized how humans interact with computers. Today, modern mice are much more advanced, but that wooden mouse remains a landmark in computer history. Organic food. Truth or myth about its benefits? Research shows that there is no significant difference between organic and conventional foods in terms of nutritional value. While many believe that organic products are healthier and taste better, science doesn't support major distinctions. Some studies have also found no notable differences in taste. However, people often choose organic foods for lower pesticide levels and more eco-friendly farming practices. When choosing between organic and conventional, it's up to each person to decide what matters most: taste or caring for the planet. Did you know that beneath Amsterdam is a complex sewer system? In addition to the famous canals that cross Amsterdam, there is also an extensive network of underground canals built as early as the 16th century. This intricate sewer system not only keeps the city's canals clean, but also prevents flooding. Staying true to tradition, Amsterdam conducts annual inspections to keep these old canals in working condition and to keep the city afloat. Why a cat's brain is 90% like a human's? Surprisingly, despite their size, a cat's brain is 90% similar to a human's. While cats don't solve equations or read books, the structure of their brain, especially the cerebral cortex, is remarkably like ours. Cats can experience emotions such as joy, fear, and even jealousy, making them far more complex than they might seem. Their ability to learn and remember is impressive. They can associate specific actions with rewards, similar to how children learn. So perhaps your little kitty is much smarter than you think. It just chooses not to show it. Did you know the average person spends 6 months of their life at traffic lights? The average person spends around 6 months of their life waiting for red lights to turn green. This adds up from all the small stops we make at intersections and crosswalks every day. While it may seem like only a few seconds here and there, over a lifetime, it becomes a significant chunk of time. These moments of waiting remind us of the hidden rhythms of everyday life and how much time we spend on seemingly small things. Why did the famous bridge in Venice almost sink? The Rialto Bridge is the oldest and one of the most recognizable bridges in Venice. It began to sink shortly after its construction in the 16th century. Venice itself is subject to constant flooding, so the bridge has gradually sunk over time. Engineers have conducted numerous restoration works to preserve it. But Venice still faces the threat of sinking, and the Rialto Bridge serves as a reminder of the fragility of this magnificent city. Can you pronounce a word with 189,000 letters? The longest word in the English language is the chemical name of the protein titin, and it consists of a staggering 189,000 letters. Pronouncing it could take several hours. Of course, such a word isn't used in everyday life, but it exists as a linguistic marvel of science. This fact shows just how complex and amazing language can be when it comes to science and chemistry. Did you know there's a basketball court on top of the US Supreme Court building? Yes, you heard that right. At the very top of the US Supreme Court building, there's a basketball court known as the highest court in the land. It's a place where judges and court staff can relax and play basketball between hearings. Imagine, after making important decisions, the justices can shed their robes and shoot some hoops, trading legal arguments for basketball shots. It's a truly unique combination of law and sport. Amazingly, octopuses have 3 hearts. Octopuses are fascinating creatures with 3 hearts. One pumps blood to the body, and the other 2 pump blood through the gills. Moreover, their blood is blue because it contains copper instead of iron. This makes octopuses not only mysterious, but also some of the most unique creatures on Earth. It's hard to imagine that nature could create such amazing beings with such a unique system. Johnny Appleseed, the man who planted apples not for food. Many of us have heard the legend of Johnny Appleseed, whose real name was John Chapman. This famous gardener didn't just plant apple trees across America, his goal was much more interesting. He planted trees not for the apples to be eaten, but to produce cider. In the early 19th century, apples were mainly used to make this alcoholic drink, and Johnny Appleseed became a hero among cider lovers. Knowing this story, each glass of apple cider will feel a bit more historical. An endless chocolate bar, illusion or reality? The illusion of an endless chocolate bar is a geometric trick that creates the impression that a bar of chocolate can regenerate itself infinitely. It's an ingenious visual illusion that tricks our minds into believing in mathematical magic. Unfortunately, this trick doesn't work with real chocolate bars, but wouldn't it be a dream come true if it did? Vending machines are more dangerous than sharks. When you go to grab a snack from a vending machine, danger probably isn't on your mind. But here's the shocker. Vending machines pose a greater threat to us than sharks. Research shows that you are more likely to be killed by a vending machine than by a shark. This startling fact reminds us that everyday objects can be surprisingly dangerous. So next time you get a snack, be careful. The real danger might just be lurking in the office or school hallway. How did the term honeymoon originate? And what does it have to do with honey? The term honeymoon traces back to ancient Babylonian culture. It turns out that after a wedding, the bride's father would provide the newlyweds with a month's supply of honey and mead, a fermented honey drink. This ritual was believed to ensure happiness and fertility in the early days of marriage. Because of this tradition, the first month of marriage became known as the honeymoon. And this idea has endured through the ages, becoming a symbol of romantic getaways for newlyweds. Believe it or not, polar bears have black skin under their white fur. A polar bear's fur may look white, but underneath, its skin is actually black. This isn't just a natural curiosity. It's an important adaptation that helps polar bears absorb more heat from the sun and stay warm in the icy Arctic climate. It's like wearing a natural solar-powered suit that helps them survive in one of the harshest environments on Earth.